Okay, when you hear the word stoic, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most of us, it's a very specific and frankly a very misleading picture. So today, let's just dive right in and dismantle the biggest myth about one of the most practical philosophies in history.
You know the image I'm talking about? It's that person who never flinches, who just bottles everything up and stares down hardship with this steely, impenetrable gaze. We've kind of been taught that to be stoic just means to power through, to not show any feeling at all.
But is that really what it's about? Is the ultimate goal to become some kind of emotionless robot? Well, the ancient Stoics would have said absolutely not. In fact, they would argue that this whole modern idea completely misses the point of their philosophy.
And here's why this really matters. This isn't just some historical mix-up. It's actively harmful. This idea encourages us to suppress our emotions, a practice that modern psychology tells us time and time again is a direct path to anxiety, to burnout, and just feeling pretty miserable.
All right, so to really get this, we have to understand this brilliant distinction the Stoics made. I mean, these guys were fantastic psychologists. They split our emotional responses into two very different categories. And this, right here, is the key that unlocks the whole thing. First up, you've got what they called propathiae. Now, these are the initial, automatic flashes of emotion you just can't control. Think about that jolt of fear when a car cuts you off, or that immediate hot flush you feel when someone insults you. The Stoics saw these as totally natural, kind of like being splashed with cold water. You can't stop them from happening, and you're not supposed to.
And then you have pathé, which we can call destructive passions. Now this is totally different. This isn't the first flash of anger. It's the simmering rage that makes you say something you're going to regret an hour later. It's not the first pang of grief. It's the kind of long-term despair that just stops you from living your life.
And here is the crucial difference. On one side, those involuntary feelings are just natural reflexes. They happen to everyone. But on the other side, the destructive passions, well, those are based on our judgments. The Stoics argued that these overwhelming passions are born from our choice to agree with a flawed initial thought. And that, right there, that is where our power lies. So this brings us to the absolute core practice of Stoicism. See, it's not about pretending you don't have feelings. It's all about learning how to regulate them by looking at the judgments that are creating them in the first place.
Let's break down how this actually works. So let's say someone insults you. That's the event. Your immediate impression is, they disrespected me, and that is a terrible, awful thing. Now, if you immediately agree with that thought, that's step 3, you assent to it, well, that's when it blossoms into a destructive passion, like real rage or deep resentment.
So the whole point, the entire practice, is about creating this tiny pause between the impression and your assent. It's about catching that initial thought and just asking yourself, wait a minute, is this really true? Is it actually helpful for me to agree with this? You don't deny the feeling, you question the judgment that's feeling it. And this just perfectly sums up this central idea from the Stoic philosopher Epictetus. Our real power isn't in controlling what happens out there in the world, but in controlling the meaning we decide to give it.
And you can see how this creates a completely different way of dealing with our feelings. Suppression is, clenching your fists and telling yourself, I'm not angry, I'm not angry. It's a fight you're probably going to lose. But regulation, the Stoic way, is acknowledging, wow, okay, I feel a flash of anger, and then choosing not to be controlled by it. One is denial, the other is mindful awareness and choice.
Okay, but what about the really hard stuff? What about profound sadness and loss? This is where that caricature of the heartless Stoic is most common, and also most wrong.
So, did the Stoics really think you shouldn't cry at a funeral? That you shouldn't feel sorrow when you lose someone you love? The answer to that is a clear, resounding no.
In fact, Stoic writers like Seneca gave incredibly humane advice about grief. He fully acknowledged that the pain is natural and that of course we should grieve. His warning was against being consumed by it, against letting healthy mourning turn into a destructive despair that stops us from living. We even have these amazing historical accounts of the Stoic emperor himself, Marcus Aurelius, weeping in public when his beloved tutor died. And when his attendants were kind of embarrassed for him, he basically told them to back off. He said that philosophy doesn't require you to have a heart of stone. It demands a human heart, one that's just guided by reason.
Now here's what's so incredible about all of this. The Stoics figured this out 2,000 years ago, just through pure observation and reason. And today, well, modern neuroscience is proving them right.
Yeah, thanks to technology like fMRI scans,
We can literally see what's happening inside our brains when we deal with emotions, and the results are just fascinating.
So when people in studies are told to suppress their feelings, to just bottle it all up, the activity in their amygdala, which is basically the brain's alarm system, it actually increases. Pushing your feelings down literally makes your brain more stressed out.
But when people use a technique called reappraisal, which is just the modern term for the Stoic practice of re-examining your judgments, something amazing happens. Their prefrontal cortex, the rational thinking part of the brain, lights up and actively calms the amygdala down. It's like the Stoics gave us a user manual for our own brains.
So let's just throw out that old, inaccurate image of the emotionless robot. Let's redefine what it truly means to be a Stoic, in the best and truest sense of the word. A true Stoic is someone with profound emotional strength. They're deeply in tune with what they feel, but they are not a slave to those feelings. They can feel the heat of anger without letting it become a destructive fire. They can feel the chill of fear without being frozen by it. And they can feel the weight of grief without being crushed by it. This isn't emotional suppression at all. It is emotional mastery. So the question I want to leave you with is a personal one. The next time a difficult emotion comes up, what will you do? Will you just push it down? Or will you use it as a chance to practice this ancient wisdom? Are you suppressing your feelings? Or are you on the path to mastering them?